The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.
Good morning. Got heavy hot this morning. Melissa, a vicious hurricane, devastated Jamaica yesterday. Want to know why my this morning all of a sudden my cell phone wanted to get in buffering mode when I went and researched this particular Bob Marley classic to pay homage to the people who are suffering right now, man. And it is going on in Cuba right now. And, we've been through this, so there's a sensitivity here in the Virgin Islands for those who have to go through that type of trauma and tragedy. So I want to go over the details. We just had the 8 o'clock advisory, and I know there was a 5 a.m. advisory, but the 8 a.m. advisory should have just come out. Of course, it's the last Wednesday in the month, and we've always had, coincidentally, today, we have VITEMA Director, Daryl Jaschen, here in the studio joining us on Analyze This, your NPR station in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Good morning, Director. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Neville. Good morning, Virgin Islanders.
So, here we go. Melissa continues to move over eastern Cuba and will soon emerge into the southwestern Atlantic, bringing damaging winds, flooding rains, and dangerous storm surge to Cuba and the Bahamas today. She's currently located at 20.6 north, 75.7 west, about 40 miles northwest of Guantanamo, and 205 miles south of the central Bahamas. Maximum sustained winds, 105 miles an hour. So it's decreasing. It was at 125 at 2 a.m. and 115 at 5 a.m. The reality is, though, if you know hurricanes, there is no difference between 125 and 105. The present moment, north-northeast or 30 degrees at 14 miles per hour. Present movement, I'm sorry. And the minimum central pressure is 968 millibars, so that continues to rise. 28.59 inches of mercury. Hurricane warning is in effect for the Cuban province of Granma, Santiago de Cuba, Guantanamo, Holguin, and Las Tunas, and the southeastern and central Bahamas. And the discussion is as follows. At 8 a.m., the center of Hurricane Melissa was located at near latitude 20.6, longitude 75 point west. Melissa is moving toward the northeast at 14 miles an hour. A faster northeastward motion is expected during the next few days. On the forecast track, the core of Melissa is expected to move offshore of eastern Cuba this morning, move across the southeastern or central Bahamas later today, and pass near or to the west of Bermuda late Thursday and Thursday night. And maximum sustained winds, like I mentioned, are now at 105 miles an hour with higher gusts. And Melissa is expected to remain a powerful hurricane when it moves across Bahamas later today and passes near Bermuda on Thursday night. So, Director, even though we're not impacted, we are impacted by extension, because all of us here in the Caribbean are one. This storm started down in the Gulf area and has worked its way northeast, then north, and now northeast again, which is pretty much against the grain for storms during the hurricane season, but late in the season, this is typical directional movement.
Very much so, and we were watching it very closely last week. Basically, the Cabinet and National Weather Service in Puerto Rico met every day to basically watch the changes potentially until it basically started getting out of the way completely. So, the word landing comes up very, very quickly in the Virgin Islands, and unfortunately, we're still in hurricane season. It's the western part of the Caribbean is where we're looking at now also, not just south to the east. And again, we're still in the area of interest, area of concern, because we're not out of it yet.
This is the reason why the hurricane season is a 6-month hurricane season. This is a perfect example. People, we tend to exhale a little bit given our history here in the Virgin Islands with the 4 major storms since Hugo coming in September, in the middle of September for the most part. Well, here we are closing down on the end of October, and we got a devastating storm. And last night when I was watching the weather service, this was, and this is, as of last night, the 5 p.m. coordinates, the strongest recorded storm ever.
That's pretty impressive. I think, if you look at historically, you look at the Atlantic, big picture-wise, early in the season, you have the storms starting to form, off the East Coast, down in the Gulf, and then later in the season, like you talked about already, they're to the west in the Caribbean. So, the risks for us is 15 August to 15 October. That's basically a height of hurricane season. That's we plan everything for that. But we do our preparedness. We do the discussion. We do readiness starting back in June. And even though, it is a long hurricane season, we're 6 months in, 6 months out. You get fatigued very, very quickly if you still stay on top of this. So you have to stay on top of it. You have to look at supporting each other. You have to look at the preparedness, no matter where it is. And if you do have friends, neighbors, relatives that are in the storm's harm, you always have emotions for them also, like you mentioned this morning. So while not directly, I think indirectly, a lot of us have felt the hardship. And I think the leadership of Jamaica, watching the last couple of days, did a very good job preparing the community, as well as being prepared themselves to understand what a Category 5 entails.
Glenn, if you could call the weather service in San Juan, we'd appreciate that sometime during the first segment. Now, 185 miles an hour. Like I said, when you're in your home and you hear that howling wind, it's a different type of wind during a hurricane compared to just windy. There's there's like a whistle, a real life whistle that you hear during the hurricane season. But the amount of rain, they were mentioning anywhere from, depending on where you're at, from 20 to 40 inches of rain in Jamaica. That's just unconscionable.
Right, and then they have some we'll use the word mountains, 7,000 foot elevation over in the eastern part of Jamaica, and then you look 2,000 feet on the western part. So all that water coming down has to come somewhere. So you see the floodings, unfortunately. Terrible floodings that occurred are occurring still. It's going to take a while. The airports, I think one airport's like 10 feet above sea level. Storm surge, we're talking about 13 feet.
Wow.
And I think the predictions that were done by the Weather Service was very, very good. Our friends, the hurricane hunters, they turned around twice.
They were parked here?
No. They did not go into the storm the last 2 days because it was so
devastating.
They were clocking 200.
So intense, yeah.
240 mile an hour winds, and we're talking about potentially tornado size speeds. Talking about F5s, and this is a huge impact upon understanding, comparing tornadoes to hurricanes right now. These are speeds that we've not seen ever.
We got the weather service on the line. Good morning. Who am I speaking with?
Good morning. This is Ian Colon.
Ian Colon Pagan. Good morning.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Good morning. I'm joined by our Territorial Emergency Management Agency Director, Daryl Jaschen. So he's a part of our conversation this morning.
Hey, good morning, Ian.
He said good morning to you, Ian. Did we lose him? Looks like we lose him. They've been having phone issues. Okay, can you hear me?
No, I didn't hear anything. Again, we're having issues with our phone line.
Yeah, no. Director Jaschen was telling you good morning.
Hey, good morning, Ian.
Oh, good morning.
Yeah, always good to hear you. Yes, sir.
Yes. If I don't respond to your question,
Yeah, I know,
because
I know,
I don't,
you
yeah,
know, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what's going on with the lines
We
here.
got gremlins. We got gremlins we're dealing with from yesterday.
Yes,
So you saw what happened with all this rain that came down on
yes,
Jamaica. That is,
I know.
that is. I can, was that the same thing that y'all went through with Maria? Because Maria had a lot
Uh,
of rain in it.
yeah, I had a lot. Yeah, yeah. Some isolated areas in Puerto Rico, especially because of the mountains, reach around 25 to 30 inches, or even higher in some locations. Of course, we don't have a rain gauge in every spot, so we may have missed some. But it's gonna be similar since Jamaica is a mountainous island, even like double the height of our highest peak in Puerto Rico. But so far we haven't received any reports on totals yet. But at some point we will receive some, I guess.
Now, this is October 29th today. Yesterday was October 28th when the storm impacted Jamaica. This isn't common, Ian. I mean, it has happened before, but it's not common.
I didn't hear exactly the question, but I guess is it having hurricanes this intensity in
Yeah,
October,
correct,
right?
correct.
Or the rain?
Yeah, that's it. Both.
Both.
Yeah.
No, no. I think we mentioned yesterday. We had Wilma, for example, October 2005. We actually held the highest sustained wind speed in the Caribbean region with 185 miles per hour, which now is tied with Melissa, 2025. So we have had a system of that intensity in October in the Caribbean region, which is not uncommon. In fact, for these months of October and November, areas that are more favorable for tropical cyclone development includes basically the Caribbean, some portions of the Eastern Gulf, and of course the streamer region, which is like Western Atlantic region.
Now, the water temperature is a big engine, a big fuel, for these storms. Is that the case in the south
If we're talking about like
in the
these surface
southwest?
temperatures, yeah, that's
Yeah.
one of the main components that fuel these type of systems. And then in particular with Melissa, one thing that was favorable for it wasn't really moving a lot, so it had that opportunity to intensify. And temperatures around, at least in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, it's been around 85, 86 degrees. So that's significant more favorable for tropical cyclone development or intensification.
No, Director Jaschen, anything you want to talk to Ian about? Because I just got some information about what's going on in Jamaica. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think, Ian, the other piece of this is the speed or slowness at which Melissa went forward. That was, unheard of. Also, we flash back to Hugo for us here in St. Croix. But I think any comments about how slow it was going? I know it was going up against some other pressure systems, but that was something that we hadn't seen for a long time either.
Ian.
Oh, my bad.
The speed.
It's so annoying that the phone lines are doing what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah. He's talking. He asked about the speed of the storm and how it impacted Jamaica.
Yeah, you see it's gone again. Oh my God!
Well,
I know you can hear me.
Yeah, we can. We can hear you perfectly. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh.
Is it? Are we talking about rain?
No, we're talking about the speed of the storm. Speed. 5 miles an hour, 7 miles an hour, 9 miles an hour.
Oh, like slow moving system.
Correct. See.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We have had that before. I can mention two big cases, and one is Harvey, 2017.
Yeah.
That dropped lots of rain in the Houston metropolitan area, and then also Dorian, if you remember, over the Bahamas, that stayed there. Wow, that was like a record of like staying pretty much stationary.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at all three events, including Melissa, they were all basically influenced by a strong trough or frontal boundary moving westward or eastward, from the U.S. So that not allowed the system to move forward. And what happens is they just like stay there trying to fight it until they curve, and then move away. And that just happens. Like right now with Melissa, I went from like 3-5 miles per hour at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's 12, 14, and it's gonna just accelerate northeastward across the western Atlantic. So.
Mm-hmm. Give me a forecast for Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands for today.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good for the next few days. We had a ridge moving in with yesterday, actually even earlier than expected, with Melissa moving a little bit westward. So it's gonna be fair conditions. I believe we have heat advisory for today, so that could be dangerous or for those more sensitive to heat and heat conditions. But over the next few days, barely any activity. At least the work week looks really fine. We are going to have southerly winds, so that's one of the key components of why warmer than normal conditions are expected. Beaches, we're going to have a moderate rip current risk, especially for north facing beaches of St. Thomas and eastern facing beaches of St. Croix. You know, the normal, typical rip current conditions in the area. Nothing rainmaker until probably Saturday with the next tropical wave. However, even with that, the tropical wave, the bulk of the moisture is expected to stay out of the Caribbean water, so nothing significant is expected. And in fact, with the mid-level reach over the area, we're not expecting thunderstorms or anything like that. Just a regular, probably trade wind passing shower from time to time, which you guys saw some this morning, especially over St. Croix.
Thank you very much, Ian Calon.
Yeah, hopefully next time we talk, things will be better with this phone line.
You got it.
Have a great day.
Okay, igual.
Bye, Daryl.
That's Ian Colon
thank you,
from San Juan, Puerto Rico. So this is NPR director. Jamaica is surveying the damage left behind Hurricane Melissa, a Category 5 storm that made landfall yesterday. The most populous part of the country, the capital, Kingston, missed the brunt of the storm. Right? The government says the international airport could reopen for relief efforts as early as tomorrow. Meanwhile, the storm is battering the west coast of Cuba. More than 500,000 people are without power. And every region of Jamaica is facing blocked roads and down power lines, according to the country's government. NPR's Ida Peralta tells up first that the biggest concern for the country currently is western Jamaica, which was severely impacted when the storm made landfall, with winds reaching 185 miles per hour and generating a storm surge of up to 13 feet. Desmond McKenzie, the Minister of Local Government, said St. Elizabeth Parish is underwater. Wow. And numerous families are trapped in their homes. McKenzie says rescue teams are hoping they can get to those families today and people are still alive. I would read a report where 25,000 tourists.
Exactly. 20.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a lot of people, man.
Yeah, and that's going to put a strain on the transportation. You get first responder coming in to help out, but trying to get those tourists out of. So there's a lot of coordination is going to have to happen. The other thing, listening to what you're talking about, a lot of the agriculture and fisheries of Jamaica are impacted too.
Oh yes.
So there's a lot of their income coming through, and you watch the boats being taken out. But I think they have some strong ministers that are talking about, efforts that we've gone through it before. They talked about Gilbert had come back, 37 years ago, and that was what they kept referring back to. They had Beryl a couple of years ago. So they were trying to set up for, again, we're this is impacting us locally. We'll get through it together to maintain the calm. But yeah, those tourists, they're in an unknown environment for them.
Yeah, I'm traveling today, so I've been tracking the flight patterns. You know what I'm saying? Because the storm actually, leaving at 2, get to Miami at 5. The storm was actually going to be over the Bahamas.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I called Billy Bulkey Jr. to talk to him, to ask him, so if they reroute, which way they're going to go. He said they'll probably go north and come back south, as opposed to going over Cuba and Jamaica heading to Miami.
Yeah, you had another impact.
Yeah, because the air traffic control systems, we don't know.
Yep.
What level they're going to be at given the infrastructure. We'll take a break. Be back right after this. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our hearts are with the people in Jamaica who have been impacted severely with the storm Melissa. 185 miles an hour. Just rough. And of course now Cuba, at 125, 15, 105, wherever. And, we tend to focus, Director Jaschen, on that center circulation speed, but the span of the storm, it extends far out beyond the center circulation.
Yeah, the tropical storm force winds, we talk about quite a bit, the impacts for that, and also the bands of rain that come early and they stay late. So even though they passed the main core, they're going to have more rain coming down.
And this storm, the heavy rains were to the east early on, and then I saw it actually got more symmetrical.
It was very symmetrical. Yeah,
it was asymmetrical early on, and then as time went on, it slowed down. You could actually see the center circulation in the middle of the storm.
Yeah, they talk about that wind shear. Basically, it was zero wind shear. So basically, it performed just like it was designed. The eye wall was not needed to get replaced. It got stronger. It was a beautiful storm if you want to look at that perspective and from a meteorological perspective, but it was a devastating storm for the communities impacting now.
And I spoke with as we listening to classic Bob Marley from back in the day, got Glenn Roy Bobby the head there and all that stuff. Wind shear is a good thing for human beings when it comes to storm.
Yeah, basically cuts the tops of them off.
Cut the top of them off.
Yeah,
I learned that. We had a storm right after Maryland impacted St. Thomas in '95, and there was another storm out there, and I was listening to the meteorologists, and they said because of wind shear, that storm is not going to develop. So I had a conversation with a meteorologist in Puerto Rico a couple of weeks ago, and they defined and explained that to us. That wind shear is a disruptor when it comes to storms, which is like Sahara dust.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the dryness of that one.
Yeah, and the lack of wind shear, what you just mentioned, allowed for this thing just to intensify, and we had a rapid intensification.
Yeah.
This is the second storm this year. Remember, there was another storm. It was like a Friday night, and when we woke up Saturday morning, that was Aaron.
Yeah, it was Aaron.
It went from like 70. I mean, like just under hurricane winds to 115 in no time.
Yeah, we went to bed with tropical storm 11 o'clock that morning. Went to a hurricane that night. It was already at a Cat 4.
Wow.
Again, we have to be on our toes. And again, thanks to science, thanks to the hurricane hunters, thanks to the National Weather Service, we get these advisories. And like you get every 4 hours, they're coming out. And thank goodness they come
every
out.
Every three.
Yeah. As long as we listen to them and take action, that's an important thing.
Yeah. And we can't talk enough about preparation though.
No, we can't. We can't. And I think the Atlantic, typically we have this thing called the Bermuda High. And so this year, watching these storms come off of, Africa, the waves, we always looked about the intensification, the conditions, and when would they turn north?
Yeah, we had that steering pattern this year where literally all the storms followed that same heading west, and then northern curvature before it got to the archipelago.
Right. It's all because of that high pressure that's up by Bermuda we talked about.
Ian spoke about it.
Yes.
He said actually we have a ridge there that's not allowing it to turn, and that's the reason why it stayed south, and then it started to act up and come north.
So the conversation I always have with the Weather Service and with the governor and the cabinet is, when's that turn going to happen? It forecasts it, but until it starts going that northwest, I still worry about coming our way.
Wow. So you got some documentation here that you brought. You wanted to do some educating, because we like to let the public know.
Yeah. I before we go there, I just want to talk about for Jamaica and the recovery aspect of this. So U.S. Virgin Islands, we have FEMA, our partners in FEMA.
Yeah.
A lot of the Caribbean CARICOM group, they use SEDEMA, which is the Caribbean Disaster Management Agency.
Okay.
And so I talked to my fellow director over in BVI. They have SEDEMA also. So there's a process they go through to basically get help and support to Jamaica. And so we'll be upon that list of U.S. Virgin Islands. Governor Bryan wants to hopefully participate, and we provide goods so that it'll go through SEDEMA, and it'll go through weeks of needs. So what they need right now today is different from what they're going to need 3 or 4 years or months from now. We did the same thing for Daryl when it came through for St. Vincent and Grenadines in Grenada. So that process is there. So it's not just you won't hear FEMA down there. You'll hear SEDEMA, and you'll see that coordination come up, which is so important to have that recovery effort. It's going to take a long, long time. We talked about the infrastructure being damaged. So I want to pass that on to the community also.
Yeah, I was thinking last night, our conversation would actually be a good simulcast for Morning Edition this morning, or even us being interviewed by Morning Edition, because here we are in the Caribbean, an American jurisdiction in the Caribbean, and we have a full understanding and scope of what recovery is like being an island after being impacted by a storm, which is different from what happens in the States, where, like Ian mentioned Harvey, right? And that heavy rain, right? And, we know about rain. Maria was a real rainstorm. Dorian, rainstorm. What we're seeing now with Melissa, rainstorm, right? But they got people that could drive from Oklahoma and Louisiana and head down and help them in Houston. Our situation in the islands, we got to get airports open, we got to get ports open, whole different ballgame.
The footnote out of Harvey, because that happened in the month of August, I believe, and Irma Maria for us was the month of September. So the U.S. Navy comes out of Norfolk. They were steaming out of Norfolk, coming around Florida when Maria hit
Irma on September the 6th.
So that's, all of a sudden we had all this naval support, Department of Defense support with it. It was not because they had come out and responding to us initially. They were on their way to Harvey to respond. And it takes them about 14 days is what the clock is if there's nothing coming out. And that's the challenge for us, time and distance for that. So we got very, very lucky. I tell folks, don't expect that again. Expect to be on our own, self-sufficient for at least 2 weeks. Time and distance are a huge challenge. Airports, seaports, all of that we know about. And we know about the time it takes to do this. We know work on the U.S. Coast Guard. We know
Well, St. Croix was operational in the aftermath of Irma, right? Even though we got touched up a little bit on St. Croix with Irma, right? The direct hit was St. Thomas and St. John. So the thinking was St. Croix would be the epicenter for our function and operations. Of course, we found out 2 weeks later that wasn't the case.
And it was center of gravity. We sent everything we had from St. Croix over to St. Thomas.
That's right.
And when we asked for a little bit back, there's nothing to give back. But we had flotillas going back and forth. We had a lot of FEMA here. We had 100 individuals from Puerto Rico National Guard in St. Thomas. We had the Royal Marines down here helping out for the BVI stationed. All that changed when Maria came and knocked on the door.
And then because Harvey, I thought you were going to mention it, because Harvey had gotten hit in August, a lot of those states that typically deploy help to us in Puerto Rico, they were already obligated to provide support for Harvey. And Harvey was rain.
Right. Rain and flooding resulted. So each year, the Department of Defense and our National Guard's involved with this. They do we call it a rehearsal concept, a ROC. And their rehearsal concept for hurricane season is not like a single event. Exactly what you're talking about. You got 3 events that have happened. How does the Department of Defense support the 3 governors based upon the POTUS approval for major disaster declaration? That's a huge challenge. And again, after Irma Maria, we got some support here in St. Croix and St. Thomas and St. John and Water Island. Some support went over to Puerto Rico. Something continued on to Harvey, so they had to divide up those resources. But it goes back to the governor as well as any leader asking for what we're overwhelmed with and knowing what you don't have. And that's what our challenges will always be, because I always talk about our dance card. We'll be the first ones. We always get the first opportunities. If we don't ask, if we don't know what we don't have, then we're going to, okay, next person will get that. So it's so important that I drive very hard for our agencies in our private sector to tell us how bad it is, so I can get to the governor, I can get those requests up, and we get that support going. Because it's going to take time, distance, airports, seaports are the key to going forward, as well as we'll have tourists also that have to get out of here just like we had after Irma Maria.
And then the next thing that we learned with the storms with Irma Maria is that initial assessment is nothing but just that, initial assessment. When you find out, when you do that deep dive and you dig deep into what really happened, you find out, because remember our initial assessment was $3.4 billion. And then by the time we had really done our due diligence, that number was at $8 billion.
Exactly. And part of that challenge is proving, like you said, proving that the damage that occurred during this particular incident. Not during Maryland, not during Hugo, not during Lenny, not during something else. And that's always a challenge, and is a burden of proof upon us as a territory to tell FEMA, and for FEMA to demonstrate, well, yes, that is when that occurred.
So how does the Red Cross, what are they doing now? Because they're trying to get in there as soon as possible. They need some directions from Jamaica itself with respect to port access and all that stuff, right?
The challenge is working with the leadership of Jamaica and understanding the prioritization and when you need to be engaged. They're still doing the assessments. So I think developing those non-government organizations, leadership and support. Unfortunately, I was talking to some folks yesterday. Department of State, is very much engaged, but guess what? There is no USAID. So that used to be a tremendous resource by which we would communicate to the countries and for the U.S. to come in. Very different, us in the U.S. Virgin Islands, our systems that are set up for disaster response versus getting support from a international location.
I'm a history major, and Jamaica might be a independent island nation and all that, but if you go back to Teddy Roosevelt and his imperialism beliefs and policy, where at the end of the day, the United States, because of our might, ultimately is responsible for making sure that everything is okay in the Americas. That's the mentality, right? You just touched on USAID. Of course, politics is what it is and all that stuff, right? But even though Jamaica is not American jurisdiction, there is something about America always wanting to reinforce to all of the countries in the Western Hemisphere that some type of support, some type of assistance is going to be there for you. I'm hoping that's the case right now.
I hope so too. And again, it's in coordination with the leadership of the country in order to understand their needs at the time and to support.
And the reason for that, in particular in the Caribbean islands, is because these islands are where a lot of Americans go when they're looking for the vacation.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That 25,000, I'd be interested to find out what percentage of that 25,000 are Americans.
Yeah. Exactly. The other piece is what happened in Haiti after the earthquake. There is so much support coming in, they had nowhere to put it.
That's the next thing, too. Yeah.
And we saw that, again, I use the word SEDIMA. SEDIMA worked very quickly with St. Vincent Grenadines and Grenada to say, we have to stage this in. We don't have warehouses to put it. Now, Jamaica's a little bit larger population. They may have more infrastructure, but you still have to do traffic control, still have to bring in the planes, still have to coordinate the logistics. So there's huge logistics challenges. So I think as they stack up the support requirements, U.S. should be in there somewhere in whatever shape or fashion, whether it's medical, whether it's aid, whether it's dollars and cents, we'll help support that.
Let's get to the maps and the diagrams you got in.
I wanted to shift gears a little bit. We were talking about hurricanes. We sort of know 4 or 5 days ahead of time. We went through an exercise on the 16th of October called the Great Shakeout, and that's an earthquake. Earthquakes are usually no-notice events, and what I've done is an analysis. And Monday morning in particular, all of a sudden we got all these pop-ups on our screens, notices about earthquakes happening over by Guadeloupe and potential no tsunamis. And I'm like, why are we getting so many of this? So I went and did some research on this, and we're finding out some of the measurements that we have set up as far as conditions and part of analyzing historical. So what you have in front of you is sort of first of all, the two plates. You have the Caribbean plate and you have the North American plate. So you see that arc. That's where the majority of those earthquakes are going to happen.
Okay.
And this is from the analysis from 2020 to 2025 as of yesterday. And that's 4.5 or above. So we're looking at, if you're in the U.S. Virgin Islands, if you're within a short area within, and you have a 3.0 or 4.0, you want to be able to get something.
The camera can pick this up, Glenn? Is there any way, Glenroy? No? You can't see it?
But it's a series of dots basically showing how much. And that, I think what's happening in the event on Monday in Guadeloupe, we had actually 3 different earthquakes happen, and we'll call them a cluster right there. And then they had some adjustments that were done. So initially you had something called a 6.8 that was a significant amount.
That was the one that hit. No, that was like east of Barbuda and Antigua.
Yeah,
that's a 6.8. That was a bit. That was like, was 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock?
They had 3 or 4 of them. They had one at 6 point. One early in the morning at like 6.8. They got adjusted back down to 6.5. Then you had a 6.1 that occurred. And then you had a 5.4. But as it gets adjusted down, another notice comes out. So it's not really the same. It is the same event, but based upon USGS, they are adjusting those.
So these were earthquakes, not tremors.
These are earthquakes, correct. Now, if you put them in a short period of time, you can call them a cluster if you want to, but they're not. They could be aftershocks. But bottom line is, we were receiving notifications, and I was trying to figure out why did we also get these, no tsunami threats, for us, which was good, and make sure that we had that information. And I think what we're having a lot of times the VITEMA alert system, which is sending that information passing through from the USGS website as well as from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center in Hawaii, goes very quickly because time is one of those things against us at all times. And I think what we don't want to have is nuisance notices where you basically say, "Oh, that's nothing," and we dismiss it. So we're trying to go back, and right now I think the area is about a 500-mile radius that we basically anything 4.1 or above, we start getting notices of that. So,
100 miles east of Guadalupe.
Yep.
At a depth of 6 miles.
Yep.
Right? And the tremor was felt on islands as far apart as Antigua and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. No immediate damage was reported, so we were fortunate with this one.
Very fortunate. And of course...
And then shortly after, a second 6.0 magnitude. The first one was a 6.5, right? And no tsunami warning was issued.
Well, correct. The bulletin said basically there's no threat of a tsunami. So we received the communication. The challenge is USGS takes about 10 minutes for them to get the sensors and verify the data before they send that out.
Okay.
And also, if you're looking at something that close to us that could be a tsunami threat, 10 minutes, all of a sudden, you lose 10 minutes in trying to get to a safe location.
The most recent tsunami threat we had, that was for a storm, earthquake in Guatemala was, or when it was concerned that our western side of St. Croix would have been impacted. I think that.
Well, we had the one in February. It was the one we had basically north of Costa Rica. Basically, it was about 3 hours
Costa Rica.
away.
Okay, 3 hours away.
And we did not get that message, and we're trying to figure out that. So all this has been sort of understanding about the system, to how we can improve these systems going forward.
We'll pick that up, pick up the conversation when we get back right there. Be back right after this. And we're back here on Analyze This. And just looking at Jamaica, and this is just devastating, man.
It's terrible.
When you're talking about a prime minister saying that a whole entire parish is underwater, and you got those low-lying areas. You know what I'm saying? I remember, I think it was a storm in Louisiana in 2000, either 21 or 22, where there's an island in Louisiana that actually gets impacted before Louisiana itself. Something, I think it's Grand Bell or something like that, right? And the weather gauge broke because of the intensity of that particular storm. Prior to Hugo, right? I'm not going to relate to this. We never experienced wind. It was always rain. We had David and Frederick 10 years before in 1979. That was rain. We learned about wind with Hugo, and then Maryland subsequent to that. You know what I'm saying? People take wind like as if it's some, it just comes with the rain. No, man, wind is devastating, Director.
Yeah, the wind in that forward movement. Again, look at Hugo. In
that's a good point. Yeah.
That's why I like when I see them moving 15 miles an hour and I said, "Good, get through."
Mm-hmm.
But when they start slowing down, that's bad. And then you hit that, the hurricane force winds, 74 miles an hour above, over a period of time. That's when you start losing trees, grass, everything. I mean, anything that's basically Mother Nature will take it. And that's what Hugo demonstrated for us, and we saw that in Irma over on St. John, in St. Thomas.
Hurricane Ida.
Ida.
Yeah, that was
Ida. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and that was the one that actually made landfall in Louisiana and impacted the U.S. Open 3 or 4 days later. Remember, and there was loss of life in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Because and that was because the preparation. Again, remember, that was a lot of rain. Mm-hmm. You had the highlands areas, water running down, and the flash flooding and all that. That's why we got to take every aspect of these storms seriously.
Exactly. And again, we work on this every year. We know it's coming, and I think we are seasoned to this, which is really good. The bad news is that we have to be seasoned to this, and we talk about the mental stress of this. I think mental stress is getting better and better for us as we talk about it more, understand it more. And again, the notices that are going out.
Well, there's no doubt about that. We are better prepared, hopefully infrastructurally, but definitely mentally in terms of how we deal with storms. Now, the big issue early on in Jamaica, and this is why I believe would be a perfect interview for Morning Edition or whatever 1A and all these different shows, the great shows that we have on NPR. Debris cleanup is absolutely critical at this juncture. Talk a little bit about why that in that initial 36 to 72 hour period, debris cleanup, clearing roads because you need access for help.
Yeah, route clearance is number one. And for us, Public Works, and again, for them, they have a good infrastructure. You have to get access to the hospitals, access to police stations, access to fire stations for first responders to go out, access to airports and seaports. Those are your first locations you have to get. And just pushing it off on the side of the road, you have to do that. That's so important in order to that. And then what you can do to help out yourself, you can help out. And a lot of chainsaws are coming out as usual to cut down. And we talk about be careful of the power lines. A lot of power lines are down. A lot of the power lines, I think, in Jamaica I saw yesterday are concrete. So I think where the lines may go down, the poles are going to stay up. And I've seen, like when I was in Korea, same thing, concrete, not wood, not composite, but the concrete poles. So you may have transformers that are be going still. You're just going to have lines that need to be taken care of, bucket trucks and support to repair that infrastructure. But you have to get those routes open. The other part of this is we find out communication lines may be active, but people start cutting lines. And we end up cutting a fiber optic line usually, unfortunately. And while you thought you had good communications, part of the route clearance or debris removal, we end up cutting some things that are down on the roads.
I was quickly reading this meteorological history for Hurricane Ida. A weak tropical wave, that's what it started as, right? Coming off the coast of Africa, right? And then it actually, as the wave moved over the Windward Islands, the convective coverage increased, at which point the National Hurricane Center began to track the system as it continued westward. And the next day, the wave interacted with a broad area of low pressure over the northeast of South America. So what you had was that convergence thing that they'd be talking about, right? Where different systems actually coming together. And that's what actually makes these storms bigger and more intense.
Right.
Wow.
And remember from Melissa here, Melissa sat south of Jamaica for what, 3 or 4 days?
Mm-hmm.
And we had basically 3 different options that were going to happen. Again, Mother Nature has the vote.
But it looks like that area, that Jamaica area there is something that we got to look at. That, to me, I'm in the business of studying historically what's going on, because here's what it said. The system, this is Ida, you know. Okay. The system continued to further organize and obtain a better defined circulation the next day to the south of Jamaica. Yeah, so it looks like something in that area there, that water intensification.
Warm waters, yeah. Exactly. Energy, yeah.
And then it said, on August 26th, the system had attained sufficient organization to be classified as Depression 9, about 115 miles south-southwest of Negril, Jamaica, which is what we were hearing.
Exactly.
The same Negril that we were talking about, Melissa.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. So there's something about certain parts of the Caribbean that we need to be concerned about, like indicators. I think that's the right term.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In this case, Melissa, it probably would have kept going to the Gulf if the jet stream had not come down. So the jet stream right now is what basically pulled it and heading it out
because
east.
it was heading due west for the Yucatan Peninsula.
Yeah, and that jet stream kept coming down from the North America, kept coming down, down, and then now it's picked it up, and that's what's basically caused it to accelerate now as it's going through Cuba. 12 miles an hour is a good clip, and that's about right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, you want to go faster to get out, of course, but yeah, that's about right for a hurricane. What this jet stream is picking it up and moving it very quickly. Northeast, so we see, Bermuda, I think Thursday or Friday for Bermuda is sort of still in that cone of uncertainty.
Wow. No, this is devastating. I can't be, when I saw that, and the amount of rain, and then I just keep seeing the intensification, and this is late October when we, typically, we're starting to exhale a little bit, but we're learning there's no exhaling until the season's over.
And we know after the floods, after the rains, what happens with the vectors. And we've heard the Prime Minister talk about it already. They're worried about dengue fever.
That's a concern.
That's a concern. Yeah. All that water is going to pool, is going to say. So you have to take the proactive measures to empty, clean, to minimize that dengue fever. Because most likely we see it here every time we have heavy rains, storms come through, we get outbreaks of dengue fever, and that's just one of the vectors that get coming out. And so, cleaning up, the debris removal, sanitation. You can have dead animals. Unfortunately, that has to be done with leadership support, prioritization to the hardest hit areas to get back to whatever level of normalization, because you're going to have communication infrastructure. Those, most cell towers are going to be up on top of the hills.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen the results yet, but I would imagine a lot of those cell towers are having a rough time right now. One, if they're up and they're running, which is great, but you can't get to the generators to refuel them. So usually, just like here, you're going to have a couple of days with power communications if the towers are still up, but then you're not going to be able to get refueling up there to them.
The name of the island I was talking about, Grand Isle.
Grand Isle.
Grand Isle, that's the one in Louisiana. Boats were flipped over and left sideways in the water and along roads. Roofs of many lake houses were swept away by strong storm winds and rain. Talk a little bit about storm surge. We tend to take that for granted, when we're focusing on hurricanes, because we're worried about what's up there, but actually what's actually in the lowlands and bringing that water in and all that stuff.
Yeah, did a spin, a counterclockwise spin, especially like going into Jamaica here, that Kingston area they're concerned with that storage. As it spins it in, it'll cause the water, the ocean basically to go inland, and basically will start to back up and build up. So before even rain comes down, so you have storm surge, and a 12, 13-foot storm surge was significant. Thank goodness Melissa went to the west and spared the Kingston area primarily.
But they were concerned because with that counterclockwise they're talking about, that in effect that rain would be coming from 12 o'clock down to 3.
Yep.
Right? Because the storms out west is moving in a counterclockwise.
Yep.
So it'd be coming from the Cuba direction down into Kingston. But like you said, fortunately, there was a chance that this thing was going to miss the island, We were hoping.
Around it.
Yeah, we were hoping, at least I was hoping, and that all they would suffer from was that northeast quadrant.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you could see that it wanted to keep going northeast. and then northeast. But there was a chance
Yeah.
that it was going to work its way in that channel and then come through, you know.
And then
We're praying for that.
And then normally you see when a storm hits the coast, it sort of goes down to tropical storm force.
Yeah.
This just kept on going. I think it went through the majority of that at Jamaica in a Cat 5. And like I said, the winds were tremendous and the speeds were so slow. The forward movement, it sat. And so you're going to see a lot of cleanup, a lot of support needed for the country.
A geography buff like myself, I'm getting educated as we go here. I didn't realize that Cuba was so long that Jamaica literally fits underneath.
Right.
Basically, what you have is Jamaica, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, St. Thomas, and St. John, right, in a straight line, and then St. Martin, right? And then, of course, we're south of St. Thomas and St. John. So, but what you have is Cuba is so long that all of Jamaica, the length of Jamaica fits under the length of Cuba.
Right, and there's some mountains on that southern part of Cuba also.
Yeah.
They're not quite as high as the ones in Jamaica. Then for us in the National Guard, we've been to we've been to Guantanamo several times, and we know how dry that is out there, and we're right on the edge of that country, and it would be very devastating for Guantanamo to get hit also. And there was a lot of evacuations that were happening out of Guantanamo of U.S. citizens prior to the landfall happening just about now.
One of my boys said that the constant wind creates a vacuum inside dwellings, inside the homes, right? And he said, I made the mistake during Maria when I opened my door on my lower floor and I was pulled out of my house.
That pressure.
He said my best friend had to pull me back inside. His house was damaged during Irma,
Yeah.
so he was by his house during Maria.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that pressure drop.
Well, you can actually feel that in a room,
Yep.
right? When you open a door in a room, you'll hear the wind. The wind will find its way. It's like a funnel type activity. It'll find its way and impact inside in what's going on inside.
Yeah, there's so many different effects and how you handle those and how you prepare for that. Wind-driven rain is the other piece that you learn about down here in the Virgin Islands. Like, what do you mean wind-driven rain? No, it goes horizontal because that wind is so strong. You have wind and rain, and it just goes right under your doors, through your windows. And all of a sudden you are soaked inside. And you're like, well, I thought my doors were closed, my windows were down. No, wind-driven rain is a huge concern for us.
Well, just a sheer coincidence that a storm hits on a Tuesday, and of course, we do our thing the last. We not only do our thing on a Wednesday, we do it on the last Wednesday of the month. And fate would have it, I'm glad that it worked out for us. So you could come here and give that professional and technical perspective that we need. So the governors are ready. You've spoken with the governor. We're going to try to help out as much as we can, like every other island in the archipelago.
I'm waiting for the official answer back, but I think similar to what we've done. We're all Caribbean, support each other here, but the governor has to make that final decision. Usually, Department of Tourism has been our lead agency to help that through. I've talked to the commissioner give her a heads up. So we'll see what happens. And again, it's not necessarily right now, but as time progresses, those requirements will change. And
the Red Cross is an American corporate, the corporate headquartered in America. The Red Cross.
Yes. And there's International Red Cross and there's American Red Cross. Okay. Yeah. Different versions, but I think what we can do to help out our fellow Caribbean partners and friends and relatives are so important.
Hold on, I got a text message from one of my people. Said, Neville, hoping you're doing well. I want to touch base with you regarding the recent storms and importance of reliable communication. I've noticed that Jamaica has successfully made Starlink satellite communications available during and after storms. Would it be possible to discuss with the head of VITEMA about making this technology accessible to us as well? Starlink
is accessible. I have 7 of them right now.
Okay.
VITEMA has them, and I have 2 that are mobile, and I have basically my EOCs are set up. I'm encouraging other agencies to purchase Starlink. It's a fairly low cost, and you can adjust the speeds and the quality of that. We've tested it in the exercise we did a couple weeks ago. I had basically all 3 of them up and active. It's a great solution, and we saw that in Jamaica. I think one of the news services were broadcasting with a Starlink because everything else was down. It's a great technology, and I believe reading this morning, I think they're also offering service to Jamaica at either no cost or little cost for this. So I think the tremendous support's happening from the Starlink industry.
Yes, additionally, the community in Tide Village has brought to her attention that they're having trouble hearing the alarm from the speaker place by Cheeseburgers in Paradise.
Okay, that's the feedback I need. So every third Thursday of the month, we exercise our sirens, and I look at the audio piece of that as well as the tone piece of that. Yes.
Daryl Jaschen, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you,
Looking forward
Neville.
to talking with you. What's today? Today's the 29th. It's October, so November 26th, the day before Thanksgiving. You going to be here or are you traveling? You don't know yet.
I'll probably be traveling. I think I have a mom that wants to see me.
Of course, yeah.
Hurricane season. I don't leave the territory.
No, you're right. You're right. So let's if it's not the 26th, let's try to get here on the 19th.
All right, sir.
Okay.
All right. Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
that.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. That's Daryl Jaschen, Director of VITEMA, Virgin Islands Territorial Emergency Management Agency. We're here talking about the aftermath of Melissa devastating Jamaica. I don't know what we could do to help our brothers and sisters in the Greater Antilles, right, to the west. Okay? We'll take a break and be back right after this with Paul Blair and Kurt Schindler. Back right after this.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters. The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.
And we're back here on Analyze This. Want to thank Director Daryl Jaschen from VITEMA for joining us like he always does during the hurricane season on the last Wednesday of the month. And, of course, we're monitoring the aftermath of the devastation that occurred in Jamaica with Hurricane Melissa and what's actually going on now in Cuba from the storm making impact there earlier this morning. So we're going to transition. I believe this is the second go around. We had these distinguished gentlemen here in the studio. He's a Schindler.
Yes, hi. Good morning, Neville.
Put on a microphone there for them, man.
Yep, right here.
That's the ruins, that beautiful house over there in Damarubi.
Yeah.
That's grandfather.
Yeah, that's my dad.
Is it dad?
Yeah,
he's the last.
He's turning 96 in November.
Wow, he
Yeah.
looking good, man. I see
know,
him, man.
I'm blessed.
He does still go to the mailbox in Sunny Island.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He
He's
to
still
do his thing, right?
He's still going to work every day.
Yeah. Mark, Eric, you.
Right.
What is your sister name?
Barbara.
Barbara, how's she doing?
She's doing great.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, me and Mark, we were in class together at St. Dunstan's way back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good. Young lady, want to introduce yourself?
My name's Marisa Prince. I've been on island for about a year and a half now. Kurt and I just made a song called Swamp Mermaid.
Okay, that's awesome. Where you from originally?
I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh, knowledge. Cajun.
Yes, sir.
Cajun country.
Cajun Creole girl.
It's a jambalaya. Mr. Blair, how are you doing?
I'm good, Neville. Thanks for having me back.
Good. Introduce yourself to the audience, if you will.
So my name is Paul Blair. I've been on the island for about 7.5, 8 years. Came here as a contractor and kind of have continued that, but transitioned into doing a lot of fundraisers, some big events. Last time we were here, we were doing the second annual, or it might have even been the third annual Paulapalooza out on the North Shore. But the reason for today is Halloween 2 out at Cheney Bay Bungalows. This is a fundraiser for Moffitt Cancer Institute research, which is very near and dear because of my last year and everything I've faced.
Wow. So, we're going to get to that. Let me ask Kurt, what's it like working with a second Paul Blair? Now, Paul Blair is a very popular name in the Virgin Islands. Did you educate him on this?
I'm not even I don't even know if I know about it.
That's the name of the pilot, right? Mr. Blair?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Remember the plane when the goose
Skyhawk.
Remember we had a goose had crashed out there.
Maureen
O'Hara.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. Yeah. You might have been a little baby when that
I think I was a little baby.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we had a Paul Blair here, and we named the seaplane after Sven Overson. There was a pilot from down in Frederickson, right? Great pilot, great cruise ship. And but Mr. Blair had moved here, right? And he used to fly the goose, right? And so whenever I see your name, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Now, did an event out at Cane Bay? At the one last year was also at Cheney Bay?
No. Last year was out at Cane Bay.
Out at Cane Bay. How that one went?
It went great. Yep, we had a lot of great music, and Paul actually raised some good money for that one. And,
that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. So, Mr. Blair, you talk about what you've been going through the last year. Without getting too personal, you want to break that down for the audience?
Well, it's kind of hard not to get personal.
I know.
So last year, the day before Father's Day, I was in the airport in Orlando, about to fly back on the last Frontier direct flight to St. Croix. And I had been experiencing some issues that thought was just a infection. I had some antibiotics, got in the airport, felt really bad, and I collapsed, and EMTs came in, and my blood pressure was 44/30.
At the airport itself?
Yeah, and they rushed me to the hospital, and a routine CAT scan that day, Father's Day, the doctor came in and said I had a tumor in my pancreas.
Wow.
So a biopsy later showed that I had pancreatic cancer, the same type that Stephen Jobs had, a neuroendocrine tumor. And I reached out to a childhood friend. He's the president and CEO of Moffitt Cancer Institute. We grew up together in a little small town in West Virginia. And right away, he had everyone, his best oncologist, his best surgeons on me. And October last year, a little over a year ago, they went in with the Da Vinci and they robotically cut half my pancreas out, my spleen out, 15 lymph nodes, and after pathology came back, it was determined a few months later that everything was gone. And
wow. So science works in this conspiracy world that we're living in right now?
Well,
your biological proof, living proof that science works?
Well, I will tell you, Neville, that was my 32nd major surgery. So I've gone through a lot in my life. But I can't express how great Moffitt is. There's a number of people here on the island that have been going prior to this, and these events I've been having, they're not just about raising money, they're about awareness. And I have 9 different people that I've gotten in touch that are now getting treatment. One particular lady, she definitely swears I saved her life because she had given up. So, yeah, they can do a lot. Pat, Doctor Who, he's world renowned. He's got some different treatments that have been recognized worldwide. And as much as I can do to help them, the Moffitt Mile occurs the week before Thanksgiving, and I plan on being up there to present a check with all the people, the sponsors, their name on it. But again, it's more about when I have this event, I want people to come and talk to me so I can help them.
Where's this facility located?
It's in Tampa, Florida. They've got 5 different campuses there.
Yeah, we got Virgin Islanders who have
Tons.
have gone there and getting treatment.
Tons. There are a lot. I meet them every event that I have.
We're glad for you, man. You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you. I appreciate it.
And you said May? No, Father's Day is June.
So Father's Day,
June of 2024
is when I
and
found out.
And you said by October?
I had surgery.
And then
By May, they said I was clean, and
May of this year?
Yes.
Yeah, so within 11 months?
Yes.
After original diagnosis?
Yes.
You were clean?
And
wow.
Again...
are we knocking on wood, right?
Yeah. Pancreatic cancer, only 5% of people are in my boat. The other 95 don't make it.
God is good.
Yes, without a doubt.
So, Claude, you been looking out for your boy?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I'm his, comfort spirit animal or something. I don't know.
Yeah, agreed.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. Talk about your collaboration with the young lady.
So I met Marisa a little over a year ago, and we started playing music. And then maybe 4 or 5 months ago, we started working on actually recording. And
your instrument. Tell the audience about your.
Well, I mean,
you do everything. You
people know me as like
a one man band.
The one man band, the Loop Show. So I play a bunch of different instruments and I record them live. Nothing's ever pre-recorded, so it makes it a unique show. You have to build the songs up from scratch every time, and having that skill is good in the studio because I can play a bunch of different instruments. So I have a little studio in my house, and we started working on this, and we just released the song. It just came out on Spotify, a week ago maybe, and it's called Swamp Mermaid, and it's just a collaboration with the two of us. And
so when you first heard Marisa,
well, even when she talks, you can hear she's just got a really beautiful, unique voice, and very talented, great lyricist also.
How long you been singing?
My whole life. Honestly, I mean, I grew up singing in church.
Everybody. Hey, I had on a guest last week, right? And I tell them every great artist that I know of is started in church.
Honestly, and my mom always sang in the house. And
even Axl Rose. When I read that, Axl Rose, of course, his thing was a little controversial because he had a family situation and all that stuff. But when you think in Guns N' Roses, you ain't thinking church. You know what I'm saying?
Right, for sure.
But it's good that that foundational experience is where it starts, and then you can branch off and do what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a family of musicians as well. My father's side was from Mobile, Alabama. My mother's side's from New Orleans, Louisiana. I grew up mostly in New Orleans, Louisiana, but both sides of my family played jazz and just all over the South. So it's and the Delta blues and all that. So growing up in especially New Orleans, I mean, I'm singing going down the street. There's music constantly going on all around me. Yeah.
What do you think about the local Quelbe music? Our scratch band.
I love it.
Our mastering the scratch band music and
I mean,
playing the triangle and the squash and all that stuff. Those two instruments that you won't see anywhere else. What's that been like? What was that experience like?
Oh, it's been beautiful. I've actually, I've traveled all over the place and grew up with playing music on the street and busking and just making instruments of my own. So, I've been very, very inspired by the music culture here, and this song is a product of that. I was laughing with my grandma saying it's Caribbean flavored and Creole spiced.
Yeah, man, like food.
Yeah, man. Like gumbo,
That's right.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. But it's a masterpiece, and super grateful.
So Blair, I know you're emotional. I could see it. you're sitting on that couch and a lot of things going through your head. Hey, you're gonna be all right, man. Look outside. You see why I come to work every morning? I'm not a morning person, but tell them how beautiful the vista is that I got here in the morning.
You do have a nice view here.
I mean,
you're lucky.
This is
You're
inspirational.
Lucky. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So
I can call you and check the waves.
of
Like,
course,
Neville, hey, what do waves look like?
Exactly. And I always see the
because
the
I'm a
ferry.
surfer. So,
you know the ferry that I come from Gallows Bay. What's his name? Mosla, the Mosla Ferry.
Yeah.
I could see it and just working away nice and slow. When you look out there, I mean, that's God-given beauty, God. You can't beat that.
Sure
you can't beat that with a bat.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't take it for granted
So
either.
tell your partner, he's gonna be all right, man.
Oh, he's gonna be all right.
You live in Paradise. You realize that we label this the American paradise, but we're not exaggerating.
The reason I'm here, and I said it on the last show, is this island has saved me. It hasn't just saved me once; it saved me multiple times.
Yeah, man.
It's the people, it's the island. You give it, and it gives back. I can't tell you how many people, when I was going through this, daily reached out every single day. And then when we got through it, Kurt was nice enough to come up with his whole group, his loop show. Many people from the island came up. We had a big celebration over the holidays. We called it Holiday. And it was Cruisions invading Orlando. But it's
so we got Palapalooza, Halloween, Holiday. What else we got?
We're working on a couple more. But
Go ahead.
Really and truly, the island's been so good to me, and I want to continue to do stuff. Events like this, again, it is a fundraiser, it is awareness. But it's also an opportunity. Kurt and all the other great performers out here, we can hear them on a regular basis at all the bars and restaurants. But when they can get together in this environment where people can come and see multiple groups at one time, I think it's just a way to enjoy community. I know that when I can hardly walk up these steps, but when Kurt starts playing, he'll tell you, I can get on the dance floor. I can dance all night. Now, I can't walk at night afterwards, but I can do that. And it's all about the love here. And there truly is a lot of love. And I've got so many people that have helped with this event. I've got to mention two specific people. There's so many. But years ago, I asked Memzelle, who used to work down at the Comanche, I asked her if she would help me with hold on
a second. Hold on a second. If you're going to come on my show, you got to pronounce the name correctly. Right?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Mamzelle.
Okay.
You go pronounce it in the cruise ship twice. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I know you're from the States and all that stuff. And we could all talk that corporate Yankee thing, right?
Wait.
But if you're going to pronounce her name correctly, Mamzelle.
First of all, being from West Virginia,
you're a country boy.
It's a reach anyway.
Yeah. So you should know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah. So you say you spoke of Mamzelle.
So she did so much for me before she had left the island. I reached out. She said that if she could pull it together, she had a friend. Her friend Mark Jesper is the gentleman in Puerto Rico that builds the sets for Bad Bunny. And he has done movie sets. He's amazing. He came over here, and for the last 2 weeks, I can't even begin to describe. Everyone on this island that gets to participate going in this haunted house is going to have an experience they've never had. It is like anything you would have in the States at any major city. They have done amazing things. There's so many great rooms within the haunted house. It's on the tennis courts. It's in a great big building that we put up. That's at Bungalows, and I got to tell you, it's not just scary. One of the funniest and most entertaining rooms is the Wappa room. It's basically lights on and off, a lot of wires hanging down. We've got a body on the ground with nothing but Wappa bills on top of them. So, yeah, but I just encourage everyone to come out. It's kid friendly.
Well, we're gonna break down the event.
Yeah.
Because it's a 4-day deal, right?
5 actually.
5. Okay, good. But before you do that, I want to get back to Claude.
Yeah.
Claude, when you were listening to Mr. Blair, and as someone who lived here all his life, and you've heard and what he said really undermines this myth about people in the Virgin Islands not realizing that we are as hospitable as it gets.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So talk a little bit about when you're hearing people talking negatively, about the Virgin Islands and as a crucian, knowing fully well they really don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, well, there's certain people that come to Island and they fit right in because they love the community, they respect the community, but then there's some people that they just want to change everything like it is in the States or something.
Yeah.
And I would say, you probably should just go.
I like the way you simplify that. You know what I mean? Well, they got their utopia. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they got money and they want to come here and they want to set it up how they want.
They want it to be just like wherever they left.
Yeah, and they don't work that way.
Yeah, don't work that way.
And we're not having it.
And we don't want it.
Yeah, we don't want it that way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we got, and this is territory wide, not limited to St. Croix.
Right,
Same
of
thing
course.
with St. John, St. Thomas, Water Island,
Right.
what have you. What's the most beautiful thing about St. Croix, Marisa? Aside from the people.
I was going to say the community came the first thing to mind as well. Like there's just this essence about it. I came here and just fell in love. The history, the architecture, the way, the culture, It's everything. I mean, everything that makes up of it, like from the architecture of the buildings, like the plants, the animals, and again, there's just like this energy and the spirit of this island that's reminds me a lot of New Orleans, but its own thing. It's definitely paradise, that's for sure.
What's the French Quarter like?
The French Quarter?
Yeah.
It's a very similar architecture that you would have downtown in Christiansted. The French Quarter there's so many different pockets of the French Quarter. It's not just Bourbon Street, obviously. Like there's many old homes and random courtyards, and so all of a sudden you find yourself watching the sunrise from the top of the buildings, and there's a riverboat passing you at the same eye level when you're on you're on a rooftop, which is
Well, we got Halloween coming up, and we're going to go through the details of Halloween. It starts tonight, right?
Yes,
October 29th.
Yes.
We got Blair. Marisa, what's your last name again?
Prince,
Prince.
like Purple Rain, baby.
That's a local name. My grandmother last name was Prince.
Really?
Yeah, and called Schindler. What's going on?
That's crazy.
We're going to talk about that Prince thing when we come back. We'll be back right after this. And we're back here. Analyze this. We got Mr. Paul Blair here joining us. We got Kurt Schindler, and we got Marissa Prince. Wow. So my dad is from Christiansted, but his mom's was from Frederickstead. And his mom's name was May Prince. You know what I'm saying? So I got Princess here in the studio. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good. Tell me about Swamp Mermaid, how it come together.
It's a pretty funny story. She came over one night, and within 5 minutes we were recording, just kind of like jamming, and I recorded it, and we took that song the next day. I added a bass line and like some drums. Very, very primitive, but instantly we were like, wow, this is really nice. Like,
tell me about the beats and all that stuff.
It's definitely like a roots reggae beat. You know,
you know what roots reggae, man. Having born, you were literally born in roots reggae. You born in the 70s reggae. I know me and Court and Mark born in the 60s. You was a 70s child or late 60s?
I'm early 70s.
Early 70s. That's when the reggae. That's when the roots reggae thing take off. You know, that 70s run then ska.
It's in
that's
my,
it's in my blood. It's in your DNA. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people that have heard the song, they think it sounds a lot like Midnight. Actually, it's got that kind of very
Midnight.
She's kind of chanty, you know, the way she sings.
Yeah,
too, you know,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You want to do something for me? Yeah? I could tag the local twang to you. You want to do a little something, a little chanting something here for me? This man, I know a couple bars to let the people know you.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Of like from the song or just any something.
Do what you want, but I gonna yield. I gonna yield to the artist. You know what I'm saying?
There's one that we were working on right after. It's like, think it's time to water my garden. Think it's time to sing my feet.
Wow.
My roots are yearning for something deeper. Time won't slip me.
No, man, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's Marissa Prince, ladies and gentlemen. Here, analyze this.
Yeah.
Doing things. So I could hear that Louisiana Delta thing here in your voice within a matter of words. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Thank you.
No, man, it's song nice. You know what I'm saying? So Mr. Blair, you can't lose. Huh? He's a winner.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, these two, along with everyone else, is making everything successful.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, man, feel good. You know what I'm saying? So let's get with it. Halloween 2. How Halloween 1 was good?
Halloween 1 was quite interesting. It was a 2-day affair on the North Shore, and it was kind of like Woodstock. It rained and rained, and Kurt had, you know, all the sound set up, and it was like a TV show. We had to cover the stage with tarps, so as the bands played, you couldn't see them. They were behind the tarp, so they.
This wasn't by the Rowdy Joe area.
Yes, right across from Rowdy Joe's. Which that's where everyone's wondered. Paulapalooza 4 will be out there again this year. Everyone thought I became an East Ender and wasn't going to be on the North, but I will be there again. But yeah, it was wonderful. Full circle here about one particular band. Band was practicing. Kurt and I went up to listen to them. Tarantism, which appropriate for Halloween. The Tarantism name has to do with something that happened back in the 15th century when people got bit by a spider. They would dance until they dropped. But Tarantism came out to the Halloween 1, said, let me do a couple of sets. I let them do it. It was their debut. They've done a great job. Hugh, one of the guitarists, also plays with Kurt and the Shindiglers, which will be there on Sunday. But I felt appropriate that 2 years later to kind of let them do Halloween night. I want Kurt to draw everyone in to dance on Saturday night. So Tarantism is actually going to be playing as the headliner on Friday night.
Okay. Well, let's go through this chronologically. What's up tomorrow night? Or tonight?
So tonight's kind of a soft opening of the haunted house. We're going to have the haunted house open. We've got food. Chef Tamla flew back in from the States. We've got food. We've got some bars, some drinks.
This is from what time?
So it'll start about 5:30 tonight and go till about 10.
And the location again?
Again, that's at Bungalows at Cheney Bay.
Cheney Bay.
Yeah,
Okay,
right. And as you pull in, you'll see us set up. But again, the haunted house is right on the tennis courts, which haven't been utilized since the hurricanes.
Okay, and we got a good forecast for weather this week.
It looks like it.
I spoke with the Uncle Long in San Juan this morning, and he said we got at least three good days, and we're gonna get we always get the October and November rains. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It comes with it. So
I've got tents covering everything.
Okay, that's good. So a soft opening tonight, 5:30 until whenever.
About 10:30.
About 10.
Yeah.
Okay. And then recalibration. What are we doing tomorrow?
So then on Thursday, the first group will be playing is Caliche. Caliche will be playing down at the main stage down near the water, because I've got another stage up front, which backing up to Wednesday, as people are driving by, they'll see a big 20-foot screen playing scary movies starting tonight.
No, Caliche is the name of a band?
Yes, Caliche, and a wonderful band, talented artist on that as well.
Because remember I was teasing you just now about Mamzelle, right?
Right.
So Court, I know where you're going. I think I know you know where you're going again.
Yeah,
right. We don't pronounce it Caliche because it's white marl, right? Right, Court. You know when we fixing the road, we painting the road. That's the foundation, right? The white marl. That's white marl. You know what I'm saying? But this one different. So tell me about this. Tell me about Caliche.
I'm a contractor.
I know.
I deal with a lot of Caliche.
That's what I'm talking about. You know what I
Digging
mean?
footers, pouring concrete. Anyway,
It's a hard E on St. Gray. The
Caliche.
Caliche. Okay.
Caliche. All right, I got the Caliche.
I'm having fun with you, man. Yo.
It's all right.
I'm
It's
like,
all right.
It's
all right.
Okay.
So anyway, they'll be playing from 7 to 10 on Thursday.
Okay.
We'll be having a lot of great food. Again, a haunted house is going to just do nothing but grow. You're going to hear about it on all the radio stations over the next few days.
Yeah.
We'll have scary movies again, and that's Thursday. And again, we don't start until 5:30. We don't start opening early until Friday. Friday we'll start opening at 1 o'clock because we're going to have some things for kids and for adults, like Ziggy's is sponsoring a cornhole fundraiser, and we'll have that during the day. We'll have some bands and individuals playing on the front stage, which I would consider the south stage near the main road, during the day, and then the other bands will start at night, which Halloween night, again, we've got Sandy Nelson, who was one of the first ladies I heard when I got here in 2018. She's got a band with her. Then No Problemo and Steve Katz, which are always top drawers. Everyone loves them. And then Tarantism. But a lot of great food from Tamla, a lot of great drinks, specials. But again, also on Friday, we're going to do a trunk or treat for the kids from about 3:30 or 4 till about 5:30. Kids can come out dressed up and they can get candy. We'll have things for them as well.
So you got two stages up there. You got
Yes.
South Stage and a North Stage.
Yes.
Okay. You know, I'm thinking directionally. When I turn in to Chenet Bay, I should meet the South Stage first.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's the very first stage on your right. And
Okay.
it's catty corners facing the road because we want it to draw attention at night with the big screen with scary movies.
Okay, good.
Yes.
And then Saturday, this is an all-day deal on Saturday.
Saturday all day. We actually start at 9 a.m. because I've got a great couple who puts on international volleyball tournaments all over the world, and they're putting on a volleyball event. So we've set up a volleyball court. We're still looking for people to play and teams, and we'll give some prizes out. And that's going to start at 9 a.m. down by the main area, the main bar, down where all the sailboats are. And then after that, we'll start music at about 11 or 12 down there, and then also up at the South Stage. Working on, and hopefully I'll have the Muko Jumbies also on Saturday walking around.
Marissa laughing after, you know. Me, I ain't gonna say nothing.
Here we go,
I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna leave it alone. Marissa smiling, so I'm gonna leave it alone. Go right ahead, man.
You're killing me.
Now go ahead. Go
You're
ahead. We're good.
Okay. All right. So Saturday, as we get through the day and go into the evening, we'll have Tim Bartson and the gentleman that plays with Tim, that plays the fiddle, Yoha. He is amazing, and they're playing during the day. And then Kim Wenzel's playing. Fire dancers will be right before Kurt, and then Kurt will do the loop show, and I'll dance until I can't walk. Having a great time, a lot of great food, and that's on Saturday night.
Kurt, define the loop show.
Define the lip show?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know, I like to make people dance. So the more people dance, the better I play. That's basically how it goes down like that.
That's why I'm on the dance floor all the time.
Yeah, and there's only one day after that you'll get to recover. You know, you'll be all right, Paul.
And then we got another all-day Sunday.
Right. Then on Sunday, we've got both stages. We're going to have stuff during the day again, back to the cornhole, some other events, some stuff going on. And then I always like to try to, have something new. Like with Kurt and Marissa, they're going to be live debuting their song. But right before that, from 1 to 3, a lot of people have heard Roger Bresci back in the day, who owns Rooftops. So he's put a band together with a couple of others, and they're going to play from 1 to 3. And they're doing a wide variety of music. They're doing country. They're doing bluesy jazz. They're doing rock. They're doing everything. So I'm really looking forward to hearing Roger, because I've never heard Roger play. He had pretty much stopped when I got here on the island. And then in between that, I'll also have Mercy Child, and Chris has got Ray, a local legend on the percussion, playing with him. So that's going to be nice too. But again, at the end of all that, when the Shindiglers are playing, we're going to get to hear Kurt and Marissa with her song and a few other songs, and they'll be closing the show out.
That's awesome. So 5 days, a soft opening tonight. Tomorrow at the North Stage, we got a Kalichi band, and then Friday, we're going to go from about 3 in the afternoon.
Yes.
Till about 11 to about midnight, right?
Yes.
Tarantism is the feature on Friday. Called Schindler, you're the feature on Saturday. And Marissa Prince, you're the feature on Sunday. Right?
Well, the Shindiglers, we're the Shindiglers.
With the Shindiglers, right?
Yeah.
And who knows, may come out Saturday. I might end up jumping on stage.
Have you copywritten that name? You patent that? We want about this little because it's unique. It's so nice. You know what I mean? Remember when we were growing up, the outrigger, right?
Yeah.
Out there, you know what I'm saying? You got the Shindiglers, which is good. You were saying something, Marissa? Sorry.
Come out Saturday night. You might get a special surprise then too.
Just what we're talking about.
Yes.
Right? Tell me about the raspy. When you realize you have this beautiful raspy voice that's different from everybody else, talk about that. Because in this day and age, where we have now a greater appreciation for variety. Unlike back in the day when everybody wanted who had the highest ceiling in terms of singing and all that stuff, we come to realize now that the uniqueness, like your beautiful raspy voice. Well, talk about when did you realize that your voice was unique?
So I was out on my own really young, around like 14, 15 years old. So one of my first serving jobs was at a jazz cafe in New Orleans. It was actually one of the only places that served breakfast after Katrina. And it was a hub point for different musicians to go, like real old staple spot. But I would always sing to myself, and after a while, one of the piano, this one lady who played piano there regularly, she would just coax me to get up on stage, and then I did piano lessons for her, and she's like, "No, you're a singer." Like, so she ended up doing free lessons for me, and I would sit in with her band around town, and that's definitely. And I would also sing at the Jazz Cafe, and that's when I realized for sure that I had this whole other tone and range, and almost felt like a moral obligation to continue to carry that sound, coming from what I've come from and the many things I've overcome. It's a tradition that should be carried on.
Kurt, you know about voices. You've heard them all. Break down her voice through the lens of a Kurt Schindler.
I'd say
as a producer and a music man.
I'd say she's like a in between a tenor and a bari sax. It has this like airiness to it, but it cuts. Something about her voice, just when you put her on a mic, I can put 5 girls up on mics, and when you give her the mic, she's gonna cut through more than any other voices. Something really unique about it. Yeah.
So when you were doing Swamp Mermaid, you were just looking at what this finished product is going to be like because you find something unique here.
Yeah,
you're dealing with, right?
Yeah, I like unique. So
you can have that word. I just gave it to you. You could take it and run with it. You know what I'm saying? And we good with that. What happens when Marissa blows up, and everybody realizes
that's up to Marissa.
Yeah.
I chill.
Huh?
I'm chilling.
No, because I quote Q-Tip as regularly as I can on this show. I'm a hip hop junkie. So I'm from reggae and my local thing, and industry rule number 4080. Record company people are shady. So make sure you protect her. when they come down here and waive that that contract or that we want to knock out a single and all that stuff, do not allow those shady people to get over with it, Kurt. I'm putting the onus on you right now.
Okay. Well, I thank you for the warning. I'm gonna take that to heart. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that unique voice gonna go far.
Yeah.
I'm confident.
Right.
About that. Mr. Blair, you ready?
Yes.
You ready for this 5-day knockout thing beginning tonight?
Well, the only reason I'm ready, and I can't let it slip without acknowledging all the sponsors.
Go right ahead,
There's
man.
been some great people that have stepped up. Genesis Properties, both Dave and Dave there, jumped in first when no one else was really considering it. Since then, I've had Melody Westfall Law, Shoop, Roger at Rooftops, a new person to the island who's helping with a lot of ads you're going to be hearing about, Rich over at H2O Psycho, which you'll see his boat soon. It's on its way down here. Paradise Freight, Karen, Salvi, Fred, all of them over there, great. Leatherback, Packy is always helped me and is there for me. We've got, of course, Bungalows, Ziggy's. Ziggy's has stepped up with this promoting the cornhole with a fundraiser aspect to it. JP and JP at the Sausage Shack, and Eric at E2 Engineering. I know I'm forgetting a few, but Crucian Environmental, John's done amazing for me.
John Beagles.
Yes, John and Karen. They're wonderful people, and so we'll be filling up his his units over the weekend. But again, those people have made it possible for this to come off.
So we're talking about Halloween 2 takes place beginning tonight, the soft opening, Bungalows on the Bay. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, one of my listeners said that you moved her to tears when she heard you early on. You know what I'm saying? So
Thank you.
It's real. And we're good with that. We'll take a break and come back, talk some more with soon-to-be superstar Marissa Prince, childhood friend called Schindler, and Paul, the man himself, Paul Blair. Be back right after this. And we're back here, analyze this, and we got Mr. Paul Blair here. Halloween takes place this weekend, beginning at today, soft opening up at Bungalows at the Bay, up there by Schindler Bay. So, today, and we also got Marissa Prince, awesome voice there, and the Schindler himself, Coach Schindler from Daima Ruby.
That's right.
Right? And Carla Speed. So caught Marissa and Paul. Kind of got heavy heart doing the show today. People in Jamaica.
Yep.
Yeah, watch what
I've been following that. It's just devastating what they're going through.
We could relate to that
Of
firsthand.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's just so happened that we had Daryl Jaschen on. He normally comes on Wednesdays. But Ida, where were you in 2020? I mean, excuse me, you were in Louisiana during Hurricane Ida in 2021?
No, Katrina.
Oh, actually, I was there for Ida and Katrina.
Yeah, that's all. I had one in 2021.
2021 was bad too. Yeah, I actually was just passing through, and I was supposed to be going to do a mural job in Puerto Rico. And thank God I was there to help my mama with the house.
Yeah, we were speaking. We referenced
Ida. I watched my house how it flooded in Katrina, which Katrina was like a little different of a story.
Seemed like yesterday, but Katrina was 20 years ago, man.
It's a trip.
2005, right?
Yeah,
man. Around Labor Day, that late August, early
It was August 25th.
August 25th.
Yeah,
okay,
you could never forget that day.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. You can't. It's like September 17th and Hugo. We could never forget that one, right?
Yep.
And September 6th for Irma, and September 16th Marilyn, and September 19th for Maria. You don't forget the day then, right? So one of the things we learned, Marissa, in particular with Katrina, was that recovery is a 10 to 15 year deal. People believe, okay, we just put back up the pole, run it, align them, turn back on the power, and we got to go. That's not the case.
No.
Infrastructure gets wiped out, and then when you putting back in the infrastructure, you want it to be more resilient because more storms. We're in a storm plane. You know what I'm saying? So talk a little bit about how Katrina impacted you looking at your city, because New Orleans is below sea level and they got levees and all that stuff. Break that down for us, because we can't really relate to that. We live here in Joyland, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a little wild. So New Orleans is kind of like a bowl. We definitely should have been built more like Italy with canals all the way through, which we still do have canals that help keep the water out, but it's so we're 7 feet below sea level, and then the levees is something that we've made as protection and barriers to keep the storm surge out.
That's where the Mississippi River starts.
Yeah, so there's Lake Pontchartrain in the Mississippi.
Yeah.
Which essentially there was river barges that kept going into the side of the levee. That's where you hear that the levees broke. That really made the flooding to a whole nother level.
Well, it actually exposed the lack of infrastructure maintenance
right,
for like 10, 15, 20, 30 years prior to.
Right, because it wasn't even just that as well. The pump stations weren't on, and obviously you can only have so many people there. So my house, for instance, flooded because of the canal water that raised up. Because there wasn't, like I said, we should have been built more like Italy, where we have a lot more of the
water flow.
Yeah, because that's why we have such bad potholes and all that type of stuff, because the streets are buckling because it's just water. All of our cemeteries are above ground, or else they float back up. And I definitely can say I remember after Katrina, all the houses just got built on stilts. It was really funny. You just go into the neighborhoods and
that wasn't just a Louisiana thing. Mississippi got.
Oh yeah, this is all down the coast.
Yeah, the whole Gulf Coast area, right?
Yeah, a lot of people don't think about Mississippi and Katrina. Bay St. Louis and all of the Gulf Shores, that was wiped out.
You said your dad's from Mobile and mom's from New Orleans, or the other way around?
Dad's from Mobile. My mom's from New Orleans.
And that's another Gulf city.
Yes,
Mobile,
yes,
right? Down in Alabama, right? Paul,
my heart goes out. Sorry, my heart goes out for Jamaica and everybody that's deals with devastation.
Without a doubt. Mr. Blair, you came here in the aftermath of Irma Maria?
Yes, I was here about 5 to 6 months after. A good friend of mine, he sold me material. I am in the terrazzo business. And he bought a house in Judas Fancy actually 5 weeks before the hurricanes hit here. And I came down. He weathered the storm well, but he wanted to change everything, pull up the Sotil tile and do terrazzo inside and out. So that's what got me here. And I just fell in love with the island and I couldn't leave. So
Welcome to the club, man.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
How much time you hear that since you bought it? So I didn't know it was so beautiful and lovely down here.
Right.
I mean,
That's for sure. And
Yeah.
people don't realize, you just got to get up and come. You know? And you can make anywhere home. And St. Croix is a beautiful place to call home.
you met Dan Aykroyd?
Oh, yeah. Remember?
I come in here, right?
Yeah,
You came with him. You work with him on that song, right?
Yep. We did
Yeah.
the Hello, Good Morning.
Hello, Good Morning, yeah.
After
He's still hanging out in Frederickstead, or he's so busy now with work?
He should be back, sometime the end of November.
Elwood Blues?
Yeah.
And he has committed to be on Palooza.
Palooza.
Yeah, he
Right.
committed.
Okay,
he
that's
committed
good.
to.
Yeah.
That's
We,
good.
so I've been playing with music with him and Jeff Torella.
Okay,
And
yes,
so we did a little showdown at at Common Sense a while back, and that was the first time I really got to perform with him. And he's really chill, nice guy, chilling when you're just sitting around. But boy, you get him on stage, and that boy's a ham,
Canadian.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And but he's global.
Yeah. Oh, he's huge.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's nice, man. I like
Yeah.
that. I like Dan Aykroyd, man.
Sweet man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I wish Belushi was still here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the two of them could have been hanging out. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Because I'm willing to bet, had they knew we existed, right, long ago, because he just found out that I didn't know. Had he that they knew we existed, they would have found a reason to stay alive. And because no, I'm serious. The Virgin Islands. Of course, I'm from St. Croix and all that stuff. But the Virgin Islands, as a matter of fact, when I first got elected in 2004, my very first year was a Katrina year, and that's when we met. The guy who was the Urban League guy from New Orleans. His name will come to me, right? He actually got into election politics and been with the Biden campaign and all that stuff. But that year I got elected, and that's when I went to St. Thomas on a regular basis, Caught and Marissa and Paul. And we got so many people from America who have assimilated to St. Thomas and St. John because of the marina business. You know, they can't believe that America exists in this weather, this type of lifestyle, boat life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A year round,
We got
aside from the hurricane.
The best sailing around in the world right here.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
for
man.
sure.
So we got a lot to offer. Palapalooza is when?
Starts today. Soft opening tonight.
No. It's Halloween.
Oh, I apologize. I
Palapalooza.
apologize.
Yeah, no, your program.
wait,
your program for Halloween.
Right. So it coincides with my birthday, but what we do is we have it the weekend before St. Patty's.
Okay.
Because that's a busy month with everything going on. Yeah. So it's worked out well to be that week. We've got people coming in a week early to participate in both events. The last time we were here, it was a fundraiser for Chef Aaron.
Okay, yeah.
And Chef Aaron unfortunately passed 3 weeks later. But we were able to give funds to his son and stuff. So, but anyway, we'll be back out there tearing up the North Shore, busy as can be. It'll be the weekend before St. Patty's Day.
Marissa says something now? Talk a little bit. Say something.
He just wants to hear your voice.
Right.
Well, I want to say thank you again to Paul for having us, and to both of these gentlemen, being here. Kind of like what he says, when you give, you get back. And I definitely am. I've experienced nothing but, I've gone through some struggles here, don't get me wrong, but just got to keep it moving, keep it grooving, baby.
Yeah, man. who were your
making raindrops into rainbows.
That's right. Who were your musical influences growing up?
Oh, I'd say Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, Stevie Nicks.
The Marcellus brothers, they're from New Orleans, right? Winton and Bradford Marcellus.
Yeah.
They're from New Orleans, right?
Yeah, Bob Marley. I grew up listening to Bob Marley all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure. My family.
Which Bob Marley song you like the most?
Oh,
I know it's hard to pick one. But
right.
Which one you like the most?
I really like Redemption Song's definitely one of my classic favorites. But Natural Mystic.
you know about natural mistake and redemption? You know about that thing in the glowing in the
What
ear.
you talking about? You're talking to a mystic.
I like that. No, I'm just teasing. You know what I'm saying?
You're good. You're good one.
No. I like. Hey, people come on my show and they mention things. I don't ask them. Well, you know about that. You know, just to tease them a little bit. But that's awesome. You know what I'm saying? Redemption. You know, like I grew up. I'm a rhythm guy, right? I like swinging, right? And then you hear a redemption song, and you know, as a teenager, you're like, man, what a song be? And then you come to realize that's the best song on the album, because you know, he's truly talking from the soul. You know what I'm saying? And everybody quotes that one line, right? Emancipate yourself from mental slavery, right? Because that's colorless, you know. People don't realize that, right? Mental slavery is a colorless thing. Now you have to do with color. You know what I'm saying? That's a mind thing. You know what I'm saying? That's how deep, right? None but ourselves can free our mind. You know what I'm saying? Wow.
Yeah, I have no time for atomic energy. Because none of them can stop the time.
Sing it, baby. How long?
And we still have a prophets while we stand aside and look. Someday we just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book.
Paul, you listening? You hear that twang? You hear the Caribbean twang in there?
I feel it.
Won't you
help me sing these songs of freedom? It's all I ever had.
Wow.
Redemption songs.
God.
Now you see,
that's why it was easy for you to tap into the
first time she
talent.
sang with me, we were doing a little open mic out at the Sausage Shack.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And she just happened to like come up and there was like, hey, you want to sing?
So
you
you're
know?
killing me softly.
And within 10 seconds, I was like, what?
Which version, Roberta or Lauryn Hill?
What was that?
The Lauryn, which version? You said "Killing Me Softly." Which one? The original, Roberta Flack, or the Lauryn Hill version?
It was a Lauryn Hill version, but I was kind of singing to myself, but it was right when the that part.
Yeah, because
it came up
because the
and sang.
Lauryn Hill version is dun, 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 you know what I'm saying? That's how you go tell me. That's what you're talking about. The White Clef. The White Clef and Fugees, you know what I'm saying? So we go with that. Who were your musical influences, Scott? I mean, living on St. Croix.
I mean, you know, growing up down here was definitely a lot of reggae, you know, and calypso, you know, steel pan bands back in the day.
Explain to the people that phenomenon we grew up with here on St. Croix, where you're listening to a local radio station. Remember, WSTX was actually the one, that was our flagship station, right? Prior to the greatness of now WTJX and NPR, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But explain to the public how we were exposed to all these genres. You could hear 5 consecutive songs. One blues, one reggae, one salsa, one calypso, back to back.
Yeah,
and that's what made it easy for us and for you to be a musician.
Yeah, for sure. You know, that the exposure to different types of music down here and rhythm, you know, that's a key. That's a key down here.
And Quelbe music.
Right, and Quelbe, but there's always, you know, all the music down here has got to have a good beat, you know, whatever.
That's the next thing too. No? You realize that if you don't sound good, you will get a subtle note or something to let you know. Even though it did. You know what I'm saying? It ain't working. You know what I mean? So we're good with that. Hey, Mr. Blair, congratulations. It looks like you are production master in terms of projects and all that stuff. You've taken your construction skills into event mastering now. What's that like? There's a lot of responsibilities.
It is a lot of responsibilities, but there's no way in the world I can do it without a team. I've got some great people. Everyone that works for me has been pitching in, but so many other volunteers. If I didn't have that, I couldn't pull off anything like this. And I just want to say one more thing.
Where'd you get the dancing?
The
dancing disease from?
Well, that honestly, my wife and I have been together since kindergarten, and not surprising coming from West Virginia, I know, but but
your sense of humor.
But however, we started dating at 12 years old, and I think 13 or 14 is when Saturday Night Fever was out or something, and I remember getting that album from her for my birthday.
Yeah.
So at all the dances,
so let me ask you.
I can disco, baby.
No, check this out. What do you know about Saturday Night Fever, man? The same thing I asked her. No. What do you know about the Bee Gees and Travolta?
Plenty. I'm the actual same age as you.
I'm just teasing.
No, I can do it.
No. I know it because when you said that, because I was a teenager in 77, 78.
Yeah.
I think 78 was when the actual.
You're right. You're right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I heard you talking, I said, wait a minute.
Well,
we're the same age here. You know
that's
what
influenced my dance back in the day.
Staying alive. Were you laughing after me, Riz? Yo, I was a kid too. I mean, I can't sing.
I'm finger dancing over here.
Yeah, you know, I was a kid too. You know what I'm saying? No, and yo, the Bee Gees.
Oh,
they were nice.
Yeah, it was great.
People don't realize. Looking back at it, people don't realize how special
on how much music they wrote for other people too.
Yo, I would put them up against anybody. You know what I'm saying? Look, man, good to have all y'all here.
Thank you.
Have fun.
I appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying? With Halloween too. We'll get back together for Palapalooza.
That's wonderful.
Right. Nice to meet you, Miss Prince family, since we got the same name and all that stuff. My grandmother and you. I'm my partner right here.
Yes, sir.
Go way back. Thanks for listening to us. We're praying for all our family in Jamaica and all that good stuff, all that, traumatic stuff. But we're praying for them and we want them to come through this, right? Be good. I'm gone. I'll be back on Wednesday next week with Olasi Davis. Talk to you then.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.